Today, I wanted to talk about 5 of the most common things that I see when looking at surface pattern design beginners that sort of make me cringe a bit when I see them. After working in this industry for 17 years, I've got a pretty good handle on what makes good design. I'm definitely not trying to say that I am the best designer. There's always room for improvement. But if you are just starting out and you are looking for a few tips on how you can level up your design work, I am here to help with my 5 amateur surface design mistakes and how to fix them. But of course, I want to remind you, we're all amateurs at some point. So if you recognize some of these mistakes in your own work, do not feel badly. We have all been there. I compiled these tips to help you see your work from a more experienced viewpoint and to make improvements where you can. With practice comes improvement. So it's infinitely better to make 10 amateur designs than to do nothing at all for fear of looking like a beginner. Trust me, way better to do the work than it is to be too trepidatious and worry that your work is not good enough and not make any work. The first thing that stands out to me when I see beginner work is if there are poorly executed motifs. There is no way around it. If your patterns feature elements, which are motifs, that are recognizable, for example, a flower or an animal, rather than abstract or geometric, they need to be attractive. A pattern full of poorly drawn or poorly executed elements is always going to look amateur, no matter how well it's put into repeat or how many extra textures or, all the tricks, design tricks you can use. If you don't have strong motifs, it's going to look amateur. So here's a few examples that I put together with very quickly drawn motifs and just kind of going for it. I didn't want to call out anyone's work in this case, so I had to look through my own archives. This one I just made recently just for being quick, but as you can see, I did not spend very much time on it, so therefore it is poorly drawn. I have seen the question posed in various surface pattern groups, can I create patterns if I can't draw? I've seen this in response to people who are interested in taking surface pattern design classes and they want to get into the business, but they can't draw. My answer to that is, sure, have at it, but chances are you cannot make a career out of it. If you can't draw, even if you're doing abstract work, it's very difficult to make a career out of just abstract work. So being able to draw is a very important part of surface pattern design. So how can you fix poorly executed motifs? Try again. Practice and watching tutorials are the best way to improve your craft. I know that's not a quick fix, but sketch out your motifs multiple times depending on complexity and choose the best option from the bunch. Refine as you digitize and color the sketches, and I promise that this extra work will leave you with a pattern that you're proud of. So here, this is a page from my sketchbook, and you can see I was experimenting with different bunny faces and trying different things. And when I scan this, I can choose a different head. I probably drew the head on the body first, the one that's on the body, and didn't love it, so I tried some different things. This is another example of something that I did a long time ago that I thought was very graphic and fun was the idea here. But, of course, looking back at your old work, you're always going to be embarrassed. But this one is particularly, poorly drawn. It's meant to be loose and quick, but it really doesn't hit that mark. The line work is just kind of sloppy and it's not really a strong piece. In contrast, this is another piece I did. This was not a remake of the original piece, but as you can see, it has a graphic look dandelion. And even though it's very graphic, it's not that the dandelions are realistic. It still there's so much more care put into each motif and making it look interesting. The second mistake I often see is using the same motif over and over again. So again, motifs are the elements within a design. Creating a main pattern full of the exact same element, just rotated and put into repeat with no other variation, is often a sign of amateur work. In some cases, you maybe use this technique in a simple coordinate with a larger collection, but a print that's made to stand alone should feature some variation in the motifs. Fixing this problem is as easy as switching your motifs up a bit. This can be as simple as small color changes or a few sections of updated line work, or different expressions on the face of an animal. If you've repeated that animal throughout the repeat, you could just change the expression slightly. I have 2 examples of that here. So this one is a super simple cherry print, and as you can see, I've used the exact same pair of cherries and leaf throughout the whole thing, and it's an okay print. I mean, it's not the worst thing there ever was. Very simple, not a lot of personality, but... And then this is the second option where I put some variation into it. It wasn't that hard for me to separate a couple of the cherries, turn them at different angles, add an extra leaf or take away a leaf, and then put into a toss. And as a result, it's a much more interesting print. In this case, this is sunglasses, and here I've got 3 different sunglasses being used. And it's okay. I mean, it's dynamic. It's okay. But looking at this print where I used mostly the same shapes, there are more than 3. There might be 4 or even 5 sunglass shapes. But then even where I repeated some of the same shapes, I changed the colors, I changed the patterns, I changed the white outline that was behind it to be a little bit different so that it's not exactly the same. The line thickness in certain places, even if it's the same shape, might be a little bit different. So I just made these little tweaks to make it a more dynamic print. Similarly, I often see what I call floating layouts, where there are 2 or 3 motifs used, but they're rotated in different ways and they're placed on a background with lots of space. Lots of ground space isn't always a bad thing, but when the elements aren't very developed and the ground is plain, it can often look like beginner work. So here's an example of a print I did a long time ago. And, I have 3 interesting elements. They're cute, they work, and it's well balanced. It's a well balanced layout, but there's no variation, there's no interest. Here, I've used mostly the same elements. I've added in some new elements. I've changed up colors in some cases. The position of the mermaid, I have 2 different positions for her, and just made it a little bit more interesting. Now is a perfect time to remind you that there are so many more types of repeat layouts than an all-over tossed. If you're stuck in a rut of drawing 5 cool little elements and then scattering them randomly on a page in a balanced way, check out my guide to 14 repeat layout ideas to get you out of that tossed-only life. I'll leave the link for that in the description below. My third amateur mistake is sad lettering or Microsoft fonts. Lettering often makes its way into pattern design, and not everyone is an expert. That is totally okay. Lettering is not my strong suit either. If your art is leagues ahead of your lettering, your beginner lettering is going to make your patterns look amateur. You don't have to hand letter. You can use fonts instead. To make fonts work in your patterns and design work, be sure you're looking at what type of fonts are popular in the market, and you aren't using the default fonts on your computer. Sites like dafont.com are free and updated daily with trend-forward typefaces. Usage rights on fonts can be a little murky, so be sure you're paying attention to the usage rights on the fonts you download if you intend to use them. So here are a few examples. This is a very exciting print that I actually really for real did design in like 2007 or something like that. And it was for work. Don't even ask don't even ask. But yes, I use curls. I use curls. I don't know what is wrong with me. So these are obviously all super default fonts, and it looks very default. It looks very amateur. It is a sad print. This is a print I designed more recently, and the rock and roll fonts are actually fonts that I downloaded. The one font is a font that I downloaded, and I even updated a little bit with adding those little flare, those little pointy flares. I don't know my lettering terminology, but I did update it to make it a little bit more my own. And I think it really works with the print, and it does not detract from the print, making it look more amateurish. Next on my list is Supertextured designs on a flat ground. I'll show you some examples to make it a little bit more clear, but hand painting is a beautiful way to add some life to your surface design. But if you're scanning elements from your paintings, be sure to check your textures. A flat colored ground paired with a very textured scanned elements can sometimes highlight amateur Photoshop skills. A quick fix would be to scan a plain piece of watercolor paper and use that texture in the background, but it depends on what type of look you're going for in your final piece. So in this example, I had scanned in this butterfly, and then you can see all the watercolory texture, but just putting it on a flat ground really doesn't work. So I would need to add a textured ground to make this more interesting. This was actually a scan that I did, and then in the end, I decided that having the butterflies watercolor didn't really work for what I was going for anyways, and I ended up recreating them in Adobe Illustrator. So it did end up with a flat ground, but I removed all the texture. But in this example, I kept the watercolory texture, and you can see I kind of put a burlap texture in the back, as well as some hand-drawn line work on top. And it mixes a little bit better. My fifth mistake would be heavy use of the shape tool. Trends come and go, and right now the hand-drawn look is winning out over the very vectory, rigid design look in Surface Pattern. Here's an example of what I mean by this. I deliberately stylized this to be very geometric, and it still looks stiff and a bit dated, which, to be fair, it is. I designed it about 10 years ago. But making a snowman with 3 circles and all these very stiff shapes just doesn't work anymore. If you make flowers with the ellipses shape tool, you're going to need to step up your game if you want to make a career out of Surface Pattern. But we all need the comforting guide of mathematically perfect shapes at times, so make your ellipse flower, but print it out and draw over it a bit. Anytime your work is looking too stiff, I recommend printing it out at 50% opacity and drawing over those particularly stiff shapes, and then scanning them back in to give a little life into your patterns. So there we have it, 5 of the most common things I see in beginner work and how you can fix them. I hope that gives you some insight into your own portfolio, but I want to remind you that, of course, there are no hard rules, and you may have that piece that looks amazing despite being only a single unvaried motif. No matter what, practice makes progress, and I'm wishing you much success as you develop your artwork.